Hey all, it's Natalie for Not Just for Boys Kit Club, and today I'm using the Rad Limitless kit to scrap these two pictures of my silly boys. We were on a cruise and it was the dress up night, and so they both wanted to wear their suits. They really love wearing a suit. They think they look super cool, but they were taking some super silly photos. So we're gonna make a silly page. And I love these papers for this because, you know, when you're on a cruise and they have just like the wildest decor around the cruise ship, that's how this cruise was. And so these papers really mimic and show how wild it was. So I'm going to cut across these photos apart, and I'm picking which three papers I want to use. And I want to keep it formal. So I wanted to keep the dark. Definitely was going to use that black with the stars. So I choose the red because there's red in the background. And then I choose the other black that has that fun little stripe on it because it has the blues that are in their suits. So I decided to cut 3-inch wide strips of paper, and then I'll place them equally on the middle of this white cardstock. And I'm just using some tearaway tape that is nice and clear to put sticky onto these frames. These are the 49 and Market frames that come in the Rad Limitless kit. They're the Sunburst collection. And I will use those to put on the photo. I've also stuck the photo onto some additional white cardstock, so I'll have a nice white border around once I trim everything down, because it will be sitting on top of these papers, so I want it to pop up a little bit. So that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. I'm just going to trim down because I don't want them to stretch from end to end on the paper. So I don't want them to be 12 inches. So I just trim off maybe I think it was about an inch and a half. So we have 3 nice columns on the page. And of course I'm going to rough these up because I like a nice distressed look to almost all of my pages. Like I said, this is the Rad Limitless kit from Not Just for Boys Kit Club. I will link them down below if you would like to go get yours. I think there still are some available in the store, but this is such a fun kit, and you can see a few videos back of my unboxing of it. But it is just so full of really fun things, and it might be one of my favorite ones that they've made. It's super great. So that's kind of like the idea I'm going for as far as the layout. I try to find a fun quote, and I got one from Zoolander. So the title is going to say really, really ridiculously good looking. And so you can see the good looking over there on the right is from the Vicky Bouton Evergreen Thickers that came in this kit, which are a Christmas collection, but they work really beautifully with this kit without it making it Christmas. But there weren't enough L's for my super long title, which I don't fault Vicky or American Crafts or anyone for that because, I mean, who needs that many L's in a title? But I just love a good long title. So you'll see what I do here in a second to combat that. But I'm going to just lay out only my pattern papers and use my Heidi Swap Color Shine in Gold to add just some light splatters. These papers from Paper Rose are super thick and a little bit shiny, and they hold mixed media really well without gesso, and so they hold this splatter really nice, and it shows up opaque on these dark pages. And then I'm going to use a black splatter with a little bit of gold tint to it on my white background page as well. So to put the rest of my title on, since I didn't have enough L's, I'm going to use this Wow embossing powder, which is like a brushed gold, which I felt like looked really similar to the gold that's on the thickers. And I'm going to use some Heidi Swap stamps, and I'm going to use the packaging from Not Just for Boys Kit Club, one of their little products. I love this grid look, and I'm just going to put those 3 words on this little rectangle and then use it to house the rest of my title once I put it on the page. So I'm just heat setting it. You won't have to watch me stamp it all out, but basically I'm just going to say really, really ridiculously. And I hope that you're hearing that in Ben Stiller's voice. It's so funny because I could just see my boys saying something like that about themselves when they're making these goofy pictures. So I'm going to start assembling the page. I'm going to put the title at the bottom right. I'm going to put the photos at the top left. But then I also remembered that I had those adorable little camera charms that came in this kit. Oh, I'm using my T-square ruler to make sure that I'm getting everything nice and lined up straight. I'm not usually a perfectionist on things like that, but I do recognize that it will look nicest when they're properly spaced out on the page. But it has these really cute little camera charms. You can see those down right on the bottom right there. And since we were kind of doing a little mini photo shoot because they were all dressed up, I thought it would work really well as an embellishment. So I'm spacing everything out to decide where I want to put my charm. So I have two options. I could hang it from that photo, or I could hang it from the top of the paper over there. So I decided to go from the top of the paper. And I like the one that has the white because I feel like it pops off of the dark paper really nicely. So I just grabbed some red twine from my stash, and I'm just going to wrap it around. And I'm not really usually very great at tying bows. And then I was like, well, you know what? I don't need a bow on this paper because it doesn't need a bow. It just needs like a nice little knot, and I'll leave the like ends loose and it'll look nice and cool. So that's what I do. I just tie a little knot around this little camera, make sure it's dangling and hanging down. Hangling, that's a good word. And just let the twine be spaced out a little bit and just let it shine. So I'm going to trim off, sorry about that earthquake, not sure what happened there, trim off part of this little label so I can use it to house my title. I'm going to rough up the edges, and I'm going to ink it up with some black ink to just kind of go along with the vibe of everything else that we've done on the page. And I do end up like popping up a few of the items on some foam tape, but I didn't want to pop up the title on foam tape because then I would have some of the thickers popped up, and then would I like put foam tape behind all the other thickers, or would I just leave them down on the page? I don't know. I didn't want to do that. So I just wanted them to all be kind of the same level. So I did not pop up the title bit on foam tape. But you can see I just did that one photo, and then I'll do some of the embellishments as well. So a little bit of the black ink around the edges got onto my papers, but I could just rub it off with my finger, which is really cool because it's like that shiny paper. But I am going to add extra adhesive to my thickers because they're not super sticky, and also because they are very heavy. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think it's super funny, and it'll be fun to flip through with my travel album here, my cruise album. So these are the Paper Rose. It's called Hey Mate is the collection, and these are the die cuts that come with it. And so I'm just pulling out a few. I get that one sunburst because I like that burst of yellow, and then the rest I'm just going to use this Love It word because I don't want too many other words to take away from my title. And then otherwise I'm going to use stars. I had thought about using my black puffy stars that come in the kit. They might have been an add-on to the kit. Either way, they're shown back in that video, and they're awesome. But since I already had two black papers, I didn't want anything to blend into the background. So I decided to save this for another layout. But I have roughed up the edges of all the die cuts, and I've inked them up as well with some black ink just to give the same vibe as all of the rest of the page. And now I'm just going to sprinkle them around and finish embellishing, and we'll call it a layout. You can find me on the Not Just for Boys Kit Club blog today. I'll put a link down below of that, and I'll also link to our Facebook group. We have a lot of fun stuff always going on in there, lots of challenges. Everybody posts their layouts every day, and all the people that also buy the kit that are not on the design team, just like customers, post their stuff in there. So if you want to share, I love to see what everybody always creates with it. Or if you scrap lift any of the designs that the team inspires you to create in the month, that's always fun to see too. So it's a good place to be. Lastly, I'm just going to finish off with these, we'll call them finishing touches from Not Just for Boys. And this one I think is the school bus yellow color. And so there are 3 different sizes of little pearls. They have flat backs. And so I'll sprinkle them around, and I just have to finally tell myself to stop because they're so fun to sprinkle around in all the little nooks and crannies. And, there's fun places to nestle them. And I just have to make myself stop sometimes because I'm like, okay, stop. Your page is going to be too heavy. But they're super fun. And if you use the Nuvo adhesive, they last. I've used this for years, and my pages have held up in their albums, and all of the jewels and gems and sequins that I put on my pages, they're still stuck. So I highly recommend this adhesive. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to put those links down below, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.